Fordham University is where I had some of the best and worst moments of my life. I met one of my best friends, I became a stand-up comic, got a 12-hour psychosis, had a panic attack in a forensic lab, things like that. Fordham University was my choice school, and it had been for a very long time. And though I'm glad I went, it introduced me to the convoluted college system in America. College as you know it has essentially become a money-making machine thanks to Reagan, in part. Ronald Reagan set a precedent in this. He may not be the main reason, but this idea that he started to spread is, I believe, one of the main factors of why college is so expensive. Ronald Reagan's educational advisor, Roger A. Freeman, was quoted saying, "We are in danger of an educated proletariat," which in short led to Reagan being able to cut funding to colleges from the government by 25%. He set the standard and normalization of heightening the cost of college. And this idea of the educated proletariat, the educated working class being a danger, is some of the disgusting rhetoric that Reagan not only was spewing but also put into place via law. Which leads me to me and now. In my experience, I was not aware of how much college would actually cost. I remember being overjoyed of getting aid of about $60,000. This was of course until I saw the bill. And some of you are saying, how could you be so naive? Didn't you look up to like how much this costs? I did. I thought I did do research on how much this would cost until the research I did not line up to the bill. I'll just say it like that. But honestly, also, my family had never gone to this type of large private institution like Fordham or any of your large, you know, big American institutions such as Fordham. Obviously, there are bigger ones like Harvard and all those, but Fordham, the bill for Fordham University was $94,000. So Fordham is not like foreign in this, but prior I had made a video talking about my acceptance into Fordham and basically doing free promo or endorsing Fordham. But I, in good conscience, with the knowledge that I have now, I cannot endorse this university, and I felt it to be in good conscience to make a video telling you that maybe there are a couple reasons that you should not go to this university. And I just want to openly say that I do not endorse this university and would not recommend people to go here. So after seeing this bill, I figured, fuck, like I have $60,000 from the aid, and then the rest I'm just gonna work my ass off. I have a food truck. I'm just gonna work my ass off and pay off this bill. It's gonna take me a little bit, but fuck, I'm gonna do it. Then that was bill after bill after bill after bill. The housing deposit being $1,000, which was never deposited back. So many fucking fees. That's one of my big problems with college, is the fees. You charge this much for tuition, and then you give me an application fee, a thank you for coming in fee, an enrollment fee, you're wearing black today fee, an online fee, just so many fucking fees. But Fordham. Initially, my experience was riddled with depression, panic attacks, and NyQuil addiction, but it honestly turned into some of the funnest fucking shit of my life. And it's the funnest. Like, that's not even a fucking word, but it was some of the best moments of my life. They were really fun. Fordham is cool, the culture is cool, the split between the culture that I was in, the bubble that I was in, was cool. The split between the Manhattan and Bronx campus was the epitome of New York satisfaction and desire. But that fun was turning into $60,000 for a year and a half. And also tied into this culture that I was starting to now see after peeking outside of my bubble, it fucked me up. It just didn't start to mesh. It no longer became a school that I wanted to work my ass off to pay. And these are the reasons why. The problem with Fordham, like many other universities, is just summed up into abhorrent carelessness for the students. Now, one thing that really turned me off to Fordham was this happening that occurred last year. So I personally had a really good experience with the professors. Some of the best professors, like I love my professors. I can't even lie. I fuck with a lot of my professors. Most of my professors were pretty fucking cool. But the administrators who run and work for the school are awful. Not only do they push their duty onto the work study students, but they're also just not, they're very bad at their jobs. Most of them. So bad at their job that it almost leans on the side of disrespect. I was trying to seek out the specific thing I wanted for FAFSA, and I was told it was possible as long as I turned in this certain paperwork. This paperwork turns into months and months more of paperwork, which eventually turned into me being told that this was never a possibility for me. I had turned in, like I said, loads of paperwork and spent so much time trying to get this done, which was all just a waste because multiple people told me to continue on with the process that wasn't even possible. I could not understand why a full staff of people would allow me to do this, get my hopes up, and basically turn me around and fuck me in the ass. Like, it still doesn't make sense to me why, like, I was saying, hey, I want to get this done, and the first person was telling me, oh, you don't have this certain thing, so you can't do it. You just can't do it. It's not a possibility for you. It took me until the end of the summer to being told that. So it was a process that went on since maybe November all the way until July. And it almost fucked up my FAFSA. So that's the administrators for you. Just not fun to deal with. Very fucking stressful. It made me so stressed. I spent so much time crying and just freaking the fuck out because I didn't know what was going on with my FAFSA. Anyway, that's that. There's also, I feel like it is important to know that there's a very bro-y conservative culture at Fordham. The men on the swim team, I know this from being told this by multiple fucking people. The swim team likes to call people the R word and say the F slur and just call people slurs, and they are disgusting people. Water polo has a history of being sexual assaulters. It's just a very bro-y, we let rich white men get away with things. Gabelli, I met one nice guy from Gabelli. The rest of them are kind of assholes and pretty Republican leaning or Republican and conservative, which is just so weird when you go to a liberal arts school in the Bronx surrounded by brown and black people, and then there are just like thousands of Republican business majors. It is such a like culture shock for me to be hanging around like queer women and then like see a Trump flag. The president, Tiana Tetlow, whatever the fuck her name is, she's awful. She also raised tuition for the next year, and tuition seems to be going up each year. Like, certain things I don't know what is an experience of going to Fordham and what is the experience of all the private institutions. But yeah, raising tuitions as the year goes up. I believe she raised it was by 5%. So like $5,000. Also, on top of the tuition thing, I do want to talk about the Palestine protest. Tiana Tetlow threw in, I believe, multiple students in jail for protesting Palestine. Alike our other New York schools, Columbia obviously had, what happened in Columbia was absolutely fucking disgusting. But throwing students in jail for protesting Palestine. I remember when I was out there protesting for Palestine, this is how fucking abhorrent the like bigotry was. Across the field, when students were protesting for Palestine, they were holding up like fascist flags opposing the Palestine protesters, which is just so crazy because what the fuck do you know about Palestine? You guys are literally rich white boys from Rhode Island who are coming to a business school in the Bronx. Like, what the fuck? Why do you care about? Anyway, all this being said, while some kids are struggling to pay tuition, as she keeps raising the tuition, she finds it best to build herself a private elevator. Also, the food fucking sucks, on top of everything. Universities where their students are paying $100,000 in tuition to eat shit food, I feel like is the equivalent of kicking and spitting in the face of a student, because that is just so fucking insane. It seemed like a little thing like the food at a college, but now I see it, and it is really important that a college has good food, mostly because the rich students that go to the college can pay for better food. They can like go get better food, but the working class students that put all their money into this or don't have any money to pay for certain things and are paying for transit, paying for this, paying for the fees, those working class students cannot afford to eat better. So they have to eat the shitty food that they are paying $100,000 for. It's just really fucked up and just builds onto this culture of we don't give a fuck about working class people and we don't give a fuck about poor people. It is disgusting. To think that I would fuel the continuance of this university and just the little care it had for students made me absolutely fucking sick. Honestly, this entire thing, Fordham made me not want to go to college at all. I understood the politics of universities and their mechanisms, the culture of being a place for the rich, this rape culture, this bigotry culture. And as I said, Fordham University is not unlike its private institution peers. But I want the watchers and any Fordham interested people to know this is not a school that I endorse or I would tell anybody, especially if you are black, queer, or a woman, to go to. At this point, I'm attending OSU, the OSU, completely paid for, but I deeply advocate for the funding of community college. In the in-between of these big institutions, I attended Columbus State. This was the first time that I actually felt that a college cared for me and was not just trying to take my money. I needed to feel this way because I had begun to hate college. It reminded me of the grossest parts of capitalism and I just didn't want anything to do with it. But I love education and I love learning, and I think everybody should learn and get educated. And the thought that a college or an institution could turn my stomach like that and could whip around my ideas like that, just abhorrent. So education, higher education, needs to be accessible. People need to read, examine, analyze, and learn. 21% of adults in the US are illiterate. 54% of adults have a literacy below the 6th grade level. We need higher education. We need to learn. Certain facets of the government, starting from Ronald Reagan, I'm sure trickling down. Ha! Reaganomics, am I right, you fucking idiot piece of shit fireball. I hope you burn in fucking hell. If I could bring you back to life to put you in Inferno and fucking rap. And now we have education costing $100,000. Just another failure of capitalism. And I understand that as a private institution, things can be paid for, but it's just super disgusting for a college to basically hike up their prices to $100,000 so only rich people could go there. I didn't know a lot of people who got academic scholarships. I think the only person I've heard of got an academic scholarship also got accepted to like Stanford. So from what I know, it's very difficult to get that type of thing. The working class people I know that go to Fordham accept that it is expensive, but I think that even if you're a private university, you should still want working class people to be able to afford it. And who are you as an institution to not want that, or not to think that these people deserve it because they don't make this amount of money? So yeah, fuck Fordham University. Thank you for watching this video. I actually like the way it turned out. Sorry.
Look what stepped up in that bitch. Quickly put out the tag on the trick. Give me that grin and your bitch, I gon' go. Emperor scope, knock your way through the door. Creeping up on us, ain't feeling so high.